Well, I'm looking at the crude oil prices, and the trigger really comes in from the form of a ransomware temporary shutdown on the Colonial Pipeline in U.S. This is the largest in America when it comes to products of crude being transferred from Texas to New York via the East Coast. Now, this happened on Friday, and this clearly is a fourth straight day, and we still do understand that nearly 4 main pipelines are still shut here, and the smaller lateral lines have been restored. Now, Colonial Pipeline carries 100 million gallons of gasoline, diesel and heating oil. So this is one of the important ones, and this clearly is the latest trigger for the crude price to see some support as well. Peter McGuire now joins us for further conversation on that. Peter, hi, good to have you. How are you reading the development that has come in from US? There is a spike in gasoline, heating oil prices that we have seen ahead of the summer driving season. And now because of this, the premium has been built into the prices. How would you read into this? What's your sense on prices?
Well, good afternoon, Manisha. A couple of things. First off, you've also had that US dollar sell-off over the last matter of days that's put even more horsepower on crude. So you've got NYMEX sitting at 65.50. You've got Brent now through 69. I think there's a $70 handle maybe in this trading session. You might get it tonight or certainly by tomorrow. I think that further uplift there. And then WTI will probably be through 66, 66.50 in the short term. So there's the first point. As far as the ransomware, and you mentioned that, running all the way from Texas up the East Coast, it's a major artery, about 8,500 kilometres of length. So let's just hope that it does get back online. But all the commodities are booming, and obviously it's just giving more horsepower to the crude issue.
Peter, while that is one part of it, the other very strong data that has come in is from China, which says that the Labor Day holiday travel has surpassed 2019 numbers as well. So, I mean, as you mentioned, the demand recovery has been quite strong. How are you reading these numbers? And would you say that the crude prices have more steam on the upside now?
Well, I think they do have more steam. I would have sat back there and said possibly not, but that US dollar really come under pressure to the downside. There's every chance you could see an 89 handle there. And overall, as you mentioned about China, there's a lot of countries that are really coming back into gear very, very quickly. You've got the traditional Northern Hemisphere driving season. Whilst US tourists may not be hitting, the Champs-Elysees or the south coasts of France this European holiday season, I'm sure that they'll be crisscrossing the nation, driving as they do, and so that's going to add more, I think, demand side, Manisha, and that'll really, I think, ratchet gasoline prices up a little bit further from here.
Clearly, Peter, so the demand has been recovering, sans India, of course, and but the supply side situation that we are seeing emerging from US, I mean, if it continues for a couple of more days, how much are you ready to give it before we see another spike up in prices?
Well, I think when you're dealing with these attacks as far as ransomware, it's so difficult to, you're sitting here as a commentator looking in and you're going, well, how bad can this get, Manisha? And possibly if it doesn't get totally resolved by, let's say, Wednesday, Thursday, then I'd have to say that, that quick add $1 to everything, $1.50. So it's got the momentum, and it's got a lot of things pushing it forward. We had today highest prices ever, I think, in Singapore for iron ore. You've got copper sitting at 10,500 a metric ton. Everything's being bid up, all the base metals. So I think copper and a number of the others will force more wind into the sails of crude at the moment.
Well, sure is. And since you mentioned about the metal prices, Peter, what's your sense on that as well? Because I guess it's an all-time highs for copper, every single world exchange that you look at. And we've seen a huge run-up in steel, iron ore, aluminum in Indian markets is trading at an all-time highs. So yes, the boom is not limited to one area while there are individual fundamentals, but the macro setup is quite strong. So any favorites that you are picking up in metals?
We spoke a couple of weeks ago and I said to you, I think copper's got the potential to be an 11,000 play. And we were sitting at about 9,200 or 9,400. We're now at 10,500. You've got copper, I think, at about 485 or 484 a pound as well. So there's every chance you could see through $5 a pound. Very, very conceivable in the short term. And copper's incredible. I looked at the charts, Manisha. We're up the best part of 23% in a month. So you were flatlining there at $4 a pound for copper. Now you're nearly at $5 a pound, all in the matter since Easter. You know, one thing, Manisha, since the start of Easter, and you're looking at that 1st or 2nd of April, currencies have been incredible. The stock markets have done very, very well. You're looking at the currency trades. A trader would have had the best April, and May's looking like it's an incredible time also to be a currency trader and commodity trader. So, yeah, there's some very, very smart money to be made at the moment.